Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. A bit chilly today, you can put a jumper on, but let's see who comes online and then we'll get cracking. It's a bit dead. Someone's online. I always come on a minute or two early. Let's see who's here. Yeah, half a dozen guys. Guys, fire away with your questions. Everybody's watching, nobody's asking questions. Well, hi Chris, how you doing, mate? I hope you're well, and I hope you are ready for something that you personally probably haven't been used to for a long time. A date at Wembley in an important cup match. Sorry Chris, but I might do a few digs at your expense today. Fan Production, hi, how you doing, mate? Wonder where you're from. You know, if you're new to the channel, it'd be nice to say where you're from. It's always great to find out whether you're from around Manchester, somewhere else in England, the UK, or indeed somewhere else, anywhere in the world. We regularly have people from all over the shop getting involved. with Australians on the live stream. We have regular Indonesians. We have people from Somalia, as well as Liverpool fans and everything. Looking forward to tonight. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Owen, why do you think we haven't sold out Wembley? I'll come back to Justin's question. I'll say, Owen, the main reason we haven't sold out Wembley is there's a lot of tickets. You know, we had, I think, 35,000 tickets, and it's expensive. The cheapest ticket is 30 quid. A lot of people ended up paying 45 quid or more for a ticket. The cheapest is 30 quid. Transport, it's not cheap from Manchester. If you go on the official coach, that's 20 quid. That's subsidised by the club. So it's 50 quid a ticket. You want to bring a couple of kids, before you know it, it's 150 quid. The match is finishing at 5:30. Sorry, it's kicking off at 5:30. Now, if there's extra time, that's going to be straight away. That's going to be 7:30, 8 o'clock. Before you get out the ground, it'll be 8:30, 8:45. You're not going to get your train. If you're getting the train back that night, and the last train is just after 9:25 or whatever, you're going to struggle to get that train. So you're going to have to spend the night in London, or you'd have had to drive down, or you'd have, yeah. So if you go back in the coach, it's not so bad. But some people want to drive down, some people want to, you'll have to stay overnight, whatever. So it's a painful experience coming down to London. Yeah, beyond belief, still tickets are available at Iona Beach. How you doing? So yeah, there's tickets available, because at the end of the day, people can't afford to keep going to games all the time. Hi Tony Moroni, hi everyone. And if City, you know, get to the Champions League final, get to the FA Cup final, I think we'd have played 63 games this season. That's ridiculous. Driving to work. Hey, see Sebastian, how you doing, mate? I've got to show you guys something in a minute of what my son got me, a pair of sunglasses. But you know, with all these games, you know, as I said a couple of days ago, was it yesterday, I worked out, if you go to all the games home and away, you're spending probably £2,000 or more in tickets. Then you've got travel, you've got other expenses, parking or whatever. You could spend between 2,000 and 3,000 more, especially if you go into the European games. You know, going to somewhere like the Ukraine isn't cheap, and it isn't easy. And hotels, because it's very hard to do it in one go. You're gonna have to stay overnight somewhere. You go out to Lyon, same sort of thing. You know, it's £200–400 just for that. You go to Schalke, it's costing you a few hundred quid, because you're gonna have to get I think you can get a plane and then a train. It's hard work. So it's not just the time, it's the money. So you could end up spending £5 just following City, and that's just one person. If you've got a kid, 2 kids, a wife, you know, if the whole family's City mad, how can you afford it? And I think that's basically what it's come down to. We had Fulham away, 3,000 fans went there. We've got Spurs away in the Champions League next week, 3,000 fans there. 60 quid a pop, 60 quid a ticket. You know, Carabao Cup, we were there just not so long ago. We sold, what was it, 35,000 tickets. You know, if they brought the ticket prices down, they would pack the ground. They'd probably do better if they got the tickets priced. Hi, Shah Mohammed, Mogadishu, massive. Yeah, reduce the ticket prices. Yeah, it is beyond belief. The FA Cup semi-finals should not be at Wembley. We all know that. Wembley should be an experience to cherish for players and fans alike. With Tottenham being there for almost 2 seasons, you know, it's kind of downgraded going to visit Wembley. With the FA Cup semi-finals there, it's downgraded going to Wembley. Yeah, Tira from the Cayman Islands, how you doing, mate? Nice shades. I just missed what you said. You got to try and keep the messages short, guys. You know, if it's too long like that when I was reading it, it just drops off. So you can't keep charging fans that amount of money. If this had been at Villa Park, I think that'd have been fair. Halfway in between, it would have been decent. That's it. Wembley should be finals. In fact, I think England games should now, unless they're really big games, they should be taken around the country. Let other people experience England. You know, because I used to go to Wembley for England games. I used to be, you know, I'll say this, I used to be a member of Club Wembley, so I'd go to England games down in London, and it cost an arm and a leg. You know, you have to, it's just like another day going to London. You play an 8 o'clock game, you're not going home that night, you've got to stay over. It becomes very, very expensive. So I think the England games could quite easily be taken to Manchester. You've got Old Trafford, 77,000 fans, City, 55,000. Yeah, beyond belief they need to pay for it, but that's the FA's fault, and it should be their problem, it shouldn't be ours. You can go to Liverpool. You know, Liverpool got what, 54,000 seated. Goodison's, I can't remember what it is now, 40 odd. You can go to Newcastle, just over 50,000. So there's lots of other places you can go around the country, take international games. Chris, yeah, it'll be a tough game, you know, tonight for you guys. Southampton on a good run. But as you asked me yesterday, and I said I think you'll win 2-0. Shall I put these glasses on that my son got me? Have a quick turn round and let's have a look what these glasses look like. Hey! How's that, guys? How's that? I can't see anything. I'm sure it looks crazy. My kids know I love sunglasses, and I got loads and loads of sunglasses. I'm going to put the other ones back on because I can't see out through these. Just turn around. Let's get them back on. I got loads of sunglasses. I think I still look at this as one of the worst decisions I made in my life about 12-15 years ago, something like that. After James Brown had passed away, and they were selling off his estate over in America. And there was an online auction with it was Christie's, it was, and I actually bought some. Night wrong with my eyes, yeah, night wrong. I actually bought some. I bought 2 of James Brown's old suits, and there was one lot. It was his sunglasses. He had this bag of sunglasses. I think there was 30 or 50 pairs, and I look back now and I think I wish I'd bought them. I really wish I'd bought James Brown's sunglasses. So, you know, I'd be wearing them all the time. So let's go back to Wembley. You know, Brighton. People asked yesterday, are we gonna? You never let us see him. Exactly, yeah. If we win the quadruple, I said I'll take my glasses off. If we win the quadruple, you guys should pay attention to some of the other videos we've done because they're there. My favourite. Owen asks what my favourite in the Prem. I like going to Fulham. I like going to Fulham. It's a very nice, I said before, picturesque ground that I played at. What ticket site, Bernard? Have you been on the official site? A little ladybird here climbing up the tree. Tickets left at 1:30. Look, Bernard, there's going to be tickets left. You know, and we're gonna. I'm sure we're going to sing the Empty Seats at Home song very vociferously tomorrow. It's going to happen. Look, you know, we can't all, as fans, as mostly working class fans, we can't afford to go. Crystal Palace, absolutely detest going to Crystal Palace. Absolutely hate it. Really, really hate it. I remember when I went there, I think it was in the FA Cup, and we got beat 1 or 2-0. A pig of a ground to get to. When Wimbledon played there as well, horrible, horrible place. No, it's probably one of my least favourite places to go. Noah Arif, as a City fan, I've been down twice there, fans. Nothing especially talking Palace. Palace was out for me, you know. Yeah, Noah, no, I didn't like Paris. That's not bad, Bernard Deneen. Only 739 tickets left at 120 quid a pop. I mean, 120 quid a pop. It's blooming expensive. And if you factor in, if you want to go to the final, people were saying, I think the 30 quid tickets or 45 quid tickets for the semi-final. In the final, they're 115 quid. I mean, that's rip-off. And you can see why some people say, look, I've got to make a decision. Can't afford them both. It's very expensive to go to the final, and let's, you know, hope that we get to the final, and I'll save up my money and go to the final. So that's another reason why people are not going to the semi-final. Well, it'll be interesting if it is. Wolves are not a bad team. 168 tickets at 45. It's not bad. Exactly, Owen. Who's going to pay 120 quid for a ticket? You know, I can't remember the most I paid for a ticket. I have paid 100 euros for a ticket, and that was at Euro 2006. Exactly, no, you can't. You know, we can't afford everything. I mean, I'm fortunate that I was going to be in London anyway that weekend, because I'm going to visit a mate, a few friends on Sunday, and so I was going to be down this weekend anyway. So I've saved, you can argue, on the travel. I've just had to pay for my ticket, so I paid 30 quid for my ticket. That's it, and I'll pay 15 quid on the day for my tube train. So, you know, it's still not free. It's still going to cost me whatever it's a tube ticket's going to be, 30 and 80 all sold, Bernard. Yeah. Look, I mean, the way I would actually look at it, and most of the media are looking at it in a very negative way. Now, the way I'd look at it, I'd say it's amazing that City fans have bought over 30,000 tickets for another visit to Wembley. I mean, we're all in the first week of April. It's only 5 weeks ago that we were at Wembley for the Carabao Cup final. You know, it's very regular. Would I get another backup instead of Aaron Muric? Aaron Muric will go on loan next season. I'm pretty sure of that. There's no benefit for his progression for him to remain number 2 and not play games. You know, play the odd cup game, it's not enough. He needs to be playing regular football. So I can see him possibly going back to NSE Breda, where I think he played 1 game and then he came back because Claudio Bravo got injured. I can see him going out on loan. He needs to go out on loan for his own development. And so, I mean, there was very serious talk of Zach Steffen, the guy we got bought from America, that he'd be the number 2. And I think possibly that's the way we're going to do it. We're going to have somebody who's number 2 for 1 year, or maybe 2 years, and then they'll be sold on, move on, or whatever. Because Zach Steffen is too young to be a number 2. Claudio Bravo is a good age to be number 2. He's in his 30s. Same as Big Willie Caballero in his 30s. With the posh boys with press passes to chastise average working pay fan, exactly beyond belief. And that's what really brasses people off. You know, if you heard Dean Saunders on the radio yesterday, we're all City fans. We don't, you know, it doesn't matter. We won't change. Exactly. You had Dean Saunders saying, you know, we should, you know, push ourselves to force ourselves to pay. You know, we never get these chances again. And I said, you can only do it if you can afford to. It's all right for Dean Saunders, who, you know, probably earned a fair wedge when he was playing football. It's all right for Kevin Phillips to have a pop at City fans when he was earning 30 odd grand a week playing for Sunderland. And yes, you guys can afford it. And Zach Steffen's a very, very good keeper, from people I've spoken to, Justin. So people like that, they can afford it. And you know, on the press are going free of charge. Okay, the papers are paying their expenses probably, and they're getting tickets free of charge. They're probably getting hospitalities. They're getting nice scran, nice grub, getting something nice to eat, and sitting in the plush seats. And they're getting Wi-Fi as well, which we won't get. So the press are getting all this, you know, the media and all that. So it's so hypocritical. They have no idea what the genuine match-going fan has to put up with. And all these fans from other clubs, let's say smaller clubs or currently less successful clubs, what they're having a pop at City for, it's ridiculous when they're turning around and saying, oh, we'd have gone. The London teams at Wembley, it's amazing for them. 30 quid for a ticket and a tenner for it's easy innit, Owen? But you know, they're not doing the 4-hour travel to get there, the 4-hour travel to get back. They might spend half an hour, whatever, and it's easier for them to make a day of it. City fans, they've got to look at it and say, you know, some of them want to drink, they're gonna have to stay overnight. You know, anything interesting from Pep's press at Iron Beats, let us know. Very grateful if you can do that. So, as we said, it's very tough. Sergio, yeah, I mean, I didn't think Sergio was that injured that he'd miss 2 games. Whether he's going to play or not, I think I can see him being sub and brought on if we need him. But all these clubs that are not successful, you know, when they turn around and say, yes, we'd have filled it, we'd have filled it, we'd have filled it, they're not in a position to know. They're not in a position to know if they can fill it, because yeah, easy for United fans, they've got nowhere to go, you know, just go around the corner. But all the other clubs that say, oh, we'd have filled it, but hey, hang on a minute, you've not had already this season 4 Champions League games at home, 4 Champions League games away, and 2 more to come, and maybe more. You've not had a run in the Carabao Cup all the way to the final. Exactly, Mike. We ignore them. You've not had a run in the FA Cup to the semi-final. Okay, now some teams this season will play their 38 games. They might play 1 game in the FA Cup. They might play 1 game in the League Cup. 40 games. There'll be some teams who play 40, 41, 42 games. That's it. Okay? City will play around 60 games this season, if not more. I think it's 63 in total, something like that. It's crazy. Beyond belief, yet since 2008, my season card has doubled, but my wages haven't exactly made. You know, I used to sit, I think, in the Colin Bell stand, and exactly 1999, we could have sold 80,000, Bernard. I think we sold 42 or 44,000 that day, or 45, something like that. We could have sold double, you know. Exactly, Mike. These are the, you know, stats that matter. We've had 110,000 fans at Wembley this year. I mean, it's not Wembley, it's the Wembley had. You know, we're taking over now. It's the Wembley had. We've been there that often. And people don't want to mention that, or they've forgotten, that City fans, some of them got stuffed by Spurs when when we had to play at Wembley rather than the new White Hart Lane. And then they changed the day of the game. That's not fair. I think it was supposed to be a Sunday. They moved it to the Monday. You had fans who were flying in from abroad for that game, and they said, you know, obviously either we haven't got the money to change our tickets to stay back an extra day, or we haven't got the time off work or whatever to change our tickets to watch the game. So their money's down the pan, and Spurs never offered to compensate anybody for that. Exactly, Owen. For lesser clubs, I won't call them lesser clubs, I say currently less successful clubs. We don't want to sound arrogant, don't want to give them another chance to have a pop. For currently less successful clubs, it's a big day for them. Look at Brighton, look at Watford, look at Wolves, massive day for them. We've been here, we've done it, you know, we've done it before. TV subs, a lot of transfer, exactly. Exactly, just in 9 hours, there's only 1 game. If you're doing that 3 times in 8 days, how can you afford it? I mean, you know. Yeah, exactly, Bernard. And in fact, if you look back a few years, what was it, Chelsea versus United, FA Cup semi-final replay? The crowd was ridiculous. Was it 30 odd thousand? It was pathetic, you know. And all these fans who, a lot of them don't even go to games anyway themselves. You know, you had this fan in America having a pop at City fans for not going to games. Well, you're in America, love. You're not coming over here for games. And then there was another Liverpool fan, and exactly, Justin, impossible. There's this Liverpool fan said, when I can't go to games, it's great to hear, you know, them singing "You Never Walk Alone," and she lives 2 miles away. Hi, Reece, how you doing, mate? Bernard, we got 26 same night. United got 32. Exactly, there you go. Those are the numbers. We're 26. Weren't we in the first division at that time? You know, the 3rd tier of English football. So you had this apparent Liverpool fan. She said she lives 2 miles from the ground. When she can't go for a home game, she can hear the fans singing, and it's great, blah blah blah. Go to the game. It's all they've got. Noah, it's all they've got. All they've got. Exactly. King Company, I'm proud to have a small fan base. Not to be embarrassed about. Honestly, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. We're talking about it because it's come up, and so we're talking about it. Hi Kevin, how you doing, mate? And I'll turn this around, and this is how despicable some fans are. It's not banter, it's not fun. Raheem Sterling, it was apparently out of his own pocket, and this is as far as I'm aware, he bought, was it 550 tickets for kids from his school, from the area he grew up around West London, and he paid for the transport to take them up to Manchester, I think, to meet the players, meet him and everything else, and then, you know, they're going to the game. Now that's 20 grand that's cost, 20 grand. Now, there's some reports that maybe the club helped as well, and then you got these pathetic idiots who've come out on social media and having a pop, City can't fill the ground, and so they're having to do, you know, buy their own tickets. Exactly, Owen. Prefer to have 30,000 all fans than 10,000 all fans and the rest tourists. Exactly, Reece. Proper families. Look, it's going to happen with us as well. And we're going to get fans from overseas and from outside the area. It's just natural. And I'd like to think we'd welcome them with open arms, and we do. I mean, we've had fans come to sit with us from all over. We had Jamal, who follows us on Twitter and on YouTube. He came over from Abu Dhabi. Kevin Moore, me and my dad coming in. Fantastic, mate. Hopefully see you on Wembley way somewhere. So he came, and for the Liverpool game, and he came and sat with us. I got him a ticket. He's an Algerian guy, but he's a really nice guy. Jason Burt says Raz is the most important sportsman. He's not wrong, Tony. He's not wrong. You know, and it's quite. I'll move on to this next subject now. It's quite sickening, actually, the way the media for the last 2 or 3 years have had a pop at him, you know, all these stories to vilify him, all these prejudice stories to make him out as public enemy #1. And and then the fans got behind them, you know, of other teams, and there's this, you know, wherever Raheem went, he was booed, he was attacked in the street. And now that Raheem's come out and said something after the Chelsea incident, they've had to be quiet. You've got people like Darren Lewis, you know, the guy won't engage with me. I've asked him many times, he's a black journalist, why doesn't he criticise his white colleagues who are writing these racist articles about Raheem Sterling? He hasn't done so. Why? I think the reason's quite obvious. His money's involved. Money. It's not your morals. It's not your principles. You know, he's out there talking about bigging up chances for black managers. I wouldn't say that beyond belief, but that's a term that is used. Why isn't he? Why, you know, isn't it worse for someone in his position not to come out and criticise his peers, his colleagues? He's in a position, I wouldn't call it power, but he's in a powerful position. He should be out there and he should be lambasting his colleagues who've been criticising and been writing these racist, prejudiced articles about Raheem Sterling, but he's not doing that. He's not done that at all. I've never heard him once say anything. And I'm sure the reason is he'd lose his job. He'd lose all the opportunities with people like TalkSport. Now, people who own TalkSport, same people who own The Sun. Don't know how Dean Saunders can go on TalkSport, you know, Liverpool player, Liverpool fan. Don't know how even Phil Thompson can go on Sky Sports. I mean, they're owned by the same people, Murdoch. Exactly, he's probably his mates, you know. But they're his mates, mate. But look, if I had a good mate who was being racist, I'd either disown them or try and educate them. Not exactly beyond belief. No real investigative journalism. You know, by keeping his mouth quiet about this, Darren Lewis, and obviously he's doing something that the powers that pay his wages and offer him other work, like he's getting work on. He's moved from the back pages to the front pages of the Mirror. He's doing work for TalkSport. He's doing other. I think he's doing some. Is he doing some stuff for Fox Sports as well? You know, Fox Sports is not exactly the nicest organisation in the world, and he's just protecting his job and furthering his career and lining his pockets. And I've asked him, you know, if you can't come out and do it in public, if you're worried about anything, come and talk to me in private. You know, at least address the points I'm making. And if you want to do it in private and talk me around, do so. But he hasn't got the courage to even do that. And, you know, how will attitudes change amongst fans until the media change their agenda? Now, the media have driven the agenda against Raheem Sterling, about the bling culture, about this young, successful black guy. I've asked him that beyond belief. I've offered him a chat off the record. He's not responded yet. I know he reads my tweets. He can't ignore them. He's just not prepared to do it. I think at some point, when will he come out and start talking about it? Is when the pendulum swings far enough that he can do so. He's not going to put his head above the parapet because he'll get attacked. He'll lose his job. But if public opinion starts to swing, in the favour of against these newspapers, against these journalists, you can bet your bottom dollar that Darren Lewis will be on that bandwagon when he can see an opportunity to make money for himself. And if I'm wrong, Darren, if you do actually listen to this and watch this video, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Don't mind you telling me, you know, off the record. But I think this is gonna start slowly snowball. Okay, it's gonna snowball. I've got an interview coming up, I think at the on Saturday, to talk about this, or this Sunday, Monday. I'm doing something with some journalists in London to talk about racism, to talk about the fact that journalists, black journalists, prominent black sports journalists, are not saying anything about the racism of their colleagues. That's wrong. My opinion, Darren's opinion, it's right. It's okay not to do that. Anyway, let's move on. Sterling, yeah, exactly. I mean, Justin, I think people are more happy to be successful people in the States. They encourage it, and they respect the hard work and dedication that he's put in to get to where he is, and we should do too. When you hear the things that he does, you know, paying 20 grand out of his own pocket, whether City helped him or not, whether it was his idea, I'm sure it was his idea, okay? And you know, I'm sure it came out of his own pocket. Maybe we'll find out in time whether City contributed. But for some pathetic low-life fans to come out and use that as to have another job, come on guys, grow up for once. You know, not every subject's a laugh. It's an important thing to talk about. Raheem Sterling has done something wonderful for these kids. Look at all the other stuff he's done. Look at all the other stuff. You know, that's, sadly, I can't remember people's names very well, but there's a couple of weeks ago, the young chap, was he 14 years old? And Raheem was championing and spreading the message and public awareness that this guy needed, I think, a bone marrow transplant or something, or some stem cells, something. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly what it was. And I do remember retweeting and Raheem's tweet, I think. And sadly, the young lad died. And Raheem, I think he had him on his t-shirt. You know, he dedicated a goal to him. That's the kind of guy he is. So people don't forget. You know, what he was not publicising, okay? Exactly, bullied kid. See, Raheem does all sorts of great things, okay? And I'm sure he did all sorts of great things all the time that the press were vilifying him. I'm sure he was doing all this, but we never heard anything about it. You had the press going, and you look, and there's a thread on Twitter. I can't remember, is it Andrew Keyworth or something like that. There's 31 articles, I think, 31 articles from in the press that he talks about, and they're coming from, like, I think 13 or 14 were from the Sun, vilifying, having a pop at Raheem. You had Sky Sports in there, I think, with one where they dropped off 2 words about, I think was it the gun tattoo. You had this, I think the Sunday Times did one, all from the same stable. You had the Daily Mirror with 6, the Daily Mail with another, not the Daily Mirror, sorry, the Daily Star, the Daily Mail with 6 of these articles, all in the space of 2 or 3 years. It's terrible, absolutely terrible, what they've done to Raheem in the past. And as I said, if he hadn't come out and said anything after the Chelsea incident, I think it would have just carried on, because, you know, those guys were on a roll and they were not going to stop. So, you know, we need prominent black journalists to come out and say something against their colleagues, whatever the race, colour, creed, whatever, who are writing these articles. Have the cojones, have the balls to come and do something. And whilst you're at it, BAME, don't stop at black. And I'll say this, I've seen this before, where a black journalist has talked about this subject and he stopped at black. He says, I'm only going to talk about the black part of the issue. Well, come on guys, BAME. Yeah, exactly, Justin. Journalists aren't going to speak against each other, but they expect fans to speak out against other fans. They expect fans to speak out against the club owners. We can't affect our club owners, you know. I've supported City for 45 years, 46 years now, and I can't do anything in that time against any of the club owners, whether it was Peter Swales, whether it was Franny Lee, whether it's Thaksin Shinawatra, excuse me, whether it's Sheikh Mansour. I can't affect any of that. All I can do is support my team, which is what I do, day to day. week to week, month to month, year to year. That's all I can do. Excuse me, I've just got a few more minutes, guys. I've got a busy day. My last afternoon in France, back off to London, up at 4 o'clock in the morning, driving back to London. And yeah, we've got to go out this evening and go up to used to be one of my favourite places to visit, the Champs-Élysées. Absolutely love walking up the Champs-Élysées, going up to the Arc de Triomphe, going down to the Jardin des Tuileries at the other end, and the Louvre and whatever. I don't think it's the same after all the trouble we've had with the Gilets jaunes in France in the last few months. You know, they burnt down a restaurant actually where once I got married, my wife's French, some of you know that, and we came to Paris a few days later and we had a meal at this restaurant and they burnt that down. So yeah, beyond belief. Cheers, mate. Prediction for tomorrow, Anna Beats, 2-0 City. I think, like the last two games we've had against Fulham and against Cardiff, I can see us attacking in force. Protests haven't gone, Reece, they're still there. I think there's new laws so you can't go to certain places because people were just destroying artifacts that were sometimes hundreds of years old. You know, they were attacking buildings and destroying the heritage and the history of Paris. So I think the Champs-Élysées is off limits now for protesters. See you, Chris. Have a good one, mate. Yeah. So in terms of the Brighton game, I think Brighton, Chris Hughton has come out and said we're not going to go toe-to-toe with City. We can't. If City can get a goal too early, I can see City shutting up shop. I can see Brighton then really having a go for it because it's not like a league game where you're worried about goal difference. You know, if you lose 4-0 or 2-0, it doesn't make any difference. So I can see Brighton having a go, and there's more than a decent chance that if we're 2-0 up and Brighton are trying to press us and attack us, that the game will be stretched and there'll be spaces and we'll get a third, maybe a fourth goal. But I don't think we'll go for too many. I think it's just going to be one of those, you know, because we've got so many games every 3 or 4 days, and we play on Saturday, we have Sunday, Monday, and we're playing again on Tuesday, 3 days later. So I can see a mishmash of a team, and if we do get 2 or 3 goals up, I can see us coasting. Exactly, Reece, we've got to be bang on it right from the start. Cheers, Bernard. I hopefully have a safe journey. If you're around Wembley way, I'll be there. I've got a podcast to do with some guys in London, and they want to see me tomorrow, so I'll get involved with that. And but then I'll be obviously from Man City Fan TV. We'll be doing our videos as well. Who would you start at left back, Reece? Oh, you're a swine, man. Last question, and you throw that curveball at me. I'll go through at the back. I don't think we'll do that. Mahrez, maybe Mirror, maybe. I think I can see him starting. I can see a similar team to the last game. Danilo on the beats. That's a very good shout. I think Fabian Delph has really hurt his chances with his getting sent off for no reason, and could well be Danilo. I mean, he finished the game at left back. I mean, well, he probably played 70 odd minutes at left back, so I don't see why he can't start at left back. Walker on the right. How long is Zinchenko out? I don't know. I don't think it didn't feel like it was going to be for the rest of the season, but there's not a lot of the season left. But fingers crossed he gets fits again, gets back, and he can contribute. Hopefully, last 3 or 4 games at least. He deserves to be around. It's a real shame because he'd be first choice now. Mendy might be fit, but I'd probably go for Danilo and keep Mendy on the bench. Yeah, he needs a solution, but I think he's not a natural left back. But for a Pep team against Brighton, I think he's good enough left back. 10 or 12 days, fantastic. So we're on the 5th of April now. If he's back by the 17th, he'll miss the Champions League game against Spurs, but maybe he'll be back for the league game against Spurs, which is, we've got Palace, and then we've got the return leg of the Champions League, and then the home game against Spurs in the league. So fingers crossed he might be back for the second leg of the Champions League, which will be really, really good at home. Guys, my time's up. I'd like to do about 30-35 minutes. Because I'm busy and I'm on holiday, people want me to drive them around. But normally I'd keep going as long as you guys want to keep going, and the chat's great like it is today. And as I said yesterday, the time just flies by. I can't believe we've done 35 minutes. and it just seems like a minute ago I was waiting for people to come online, and it's just banged. Cheers, Kev. Have a good one, mate. And it's thanks to you guys. I'll repeat, you know, without you guys it wouldn't be as much fun for me, for Andy, and I'm hoping the fact that you guys keep coming back, they're having fun too. Thanks Reese, thanks Tony, thanks Iona Beats. You guys have a great time. I'll try and do a live one tomorrow, maybe around lunchtime, and then do the videos with for the channel. But it all depends. When I'm at Wembley, it purely depends on the internet connection. You know, it's very, very poor, but we'll see how it goes. Cheers, Norgel Palmer from New York. And just the last thing I'll say, if you're not from the UK, it's nice if you tell us where you're from, because it's always interesting to see where people are tuning in from around the world. And we've got Dr. from Indonesia, we've got Shai Mohammed, the Mogadishu Massive, who tunes in from Somalia. We've got C. Sebastian from California. It's really, for me anyway, it's really interesting. I'm always interested to see where people are from, and just to say hi. You guys take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of your Friday, and fingers crossed we have a good game tomorrow and we get to the FA Cup final. Cheers.